Welcome back, everybody, to another terrific Every Other Thursday training video. This week, we are going to talk about reports. We had talked in the past about adding some reports to Koha, but we've never talked really about how to bring in external reports into your instance of Koha. So that's what we're going to talk about. But first, all right, welcome back. I'm Christopher Brandon with the Coeur d'Alene Public Library and Inland Share.
And I'm George Williams. I'm the Next Search Catalog Coordinator at Northeast Kansas Library System.
So, George, you're going to walk us through a little bit about how, um, if you've never worked with reports, or if you've written reports but you've never brought in reports from external resources, what that entails.
Yeah, so a couple of weeks ago we did a video about my flexible holds history report, flexible request history, I think is the name of the report. And Laura V, and I'm afraid I don't know Laura's last name. It's just in Mattermost, Laura V asked the question, if I wanted to put this into my Koha, how do I do that? And I think this is something that happens to us every now and then, is we've been doing this a long time. And so we know, we just know when you how to take a report that's on the wiki and put it into Koha. And we don't, sometimes we forget that there are new people. So I thought it would be a good idea to just do a video about how I find a cool report. Somebody says, go to the wiki and find a report. Well, how do I make that report from the wiki go into Koha? So let's start with that, and then we can go on to that crazy thing that I did last time in that flexible request history video.
Sounds good.
So the first thing, I'm going to do this on the koha-US demo server. The first thing that people need to know is where is the Koha wiki? The SQL reports library is at this address that you see up here. But one of the ways you can find it, if you aren't sure where it is you go to Koha, you go to reports, and if we just go to saved reports, there is a link right over here to the Koha report library, which is a link out to that page on the wiki. So Koha actually tells you exactly where to go to find the Koha reports library. And so I found a report earlier that would make sense to do a demo with here. So let me find that report number. It's a cataloging, it's an item report. So we're going to go to item reports. And I'm looking for, please don't crash, Wiki.
Yeah, they did some updates to the wiki that it feels like it's a little slower at times.
So I've got a report here, and one of the things that I did to prepare for this is, this is what the wiki normally looks like. But so we're going to find the report we want, which is this one right here. And it's hard to see in the video. So I added just some styling to make it a little easier to see what I'm showing here. So you'll notice that some of the areas where you see the SQL in the wiki are gray. I highlighted them yellow just to make them stand out for the video. So this is a report that says count of items in collection and select date range.
By the way, before you move on, I just want to say, you know what? I like it when the SQL is formatted nicely. I've seen SQL, and it's probably in the library too. I've seen SQL where it's all run together on one line. And I can tell you from my standpoint, that makes it a lot harder for people to understand the sequel when it's just all mashed together. This is something that's laid out that makes more sense, and I appreciate people that take the time to format it nicely so that it can be readable.
Yeah, this is an older report. I don't know how old it is, but it was written by Barton Chittenden from Bywater Solutions, who Barton, we're in 2025 right now. I think Barton left Bywater Solutions in like 2018.
Hmm.
So this report's been here for a while. Barton always did a really good job with formatting his stuff. One of the things I would say is I'm one of the wiki curators, and I went through all of the SQL library at some point in the past, and I made it so that all of them were it. If you do put a report where there's like 1,000 characters in one line, the wiki goes wide, and I went through and I cleaned up the wiki so that we didn't have any of those pages where you had to right and left scroll to read the reports. So I think all of the ones that you see on the wiki now, I don't think you see any of those ones where there's a line that's like 5 miles wide anymore. But anyway, I'm going to take this report here, and all I'm going to do is highlight the text that's in the report section and copy it. And then I'm going to pop back over to the Koha and go new report, new SQL report. And I'm just going to paste that stuff that I took off the wiki, the SQL, into this box here that says SQL. It's as simple as that. Then I'm going to give it a title. The
You can
title
give
for
it any
this,
title you want,
I can give it any
really.
title I want. I'm going to get this title from the wiki here, because that way I don't have to think while I'm doing the video recording. But that's as simple as it. If I go save report, um, so it's going to tell me there's an error. I think the issue is it doesn't like these spaces between the pipes.
You know, that was a thing.
Yeah, it's going to work fine now.
Wow.
So count of items in collection, select date range. Let's see what's in this date range here, and that's it. The report runs. And this report is counting by item type, and that's it. So all you do is you highlight the report, you highlight the SQL, you paste it into Koha, you give it a name, and you can run it.
Now, something that your demonstration points out is that, some of these reports are older, and
Yes.
some of the formatting could affect the way it runs. Like this one had spaces in there that was causing it to not run as is. And so those are, if you run into things like that and can find ways to correct it, please by all means update the report with what you found, so that others can enjoy uh, the code and not run into those same issues.
And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm logged into the wiki, and I'm just going to take those spaces out of what's in the wiki. And I'm going to say this is a minor edit. And save the changes. And now that's fixed. So that won't happen in the next person. But I'm glad we found that. So some of the reports on here are older. We can go back and look at, if you're in the wiki, you can view the history. Um, and this is recently in February, the reports were sectioned out into different pages. It used to be all of the SQL reports library, it was all on one page, which was about 50 miles tall.
Yeah.
And we've gone through. members of the community have gone through and they've divided them up so that they're in different categories,
Nice.
essentially, so that they're not all in one huge, gigantic Mondo page that you have to spend hours scrolling through.
Has that been done on the jQuery library at all?
No, but there's been a discussion about doing that, and I've volunteered to help do that like about a year ago, and I haven't got any progress done. But
Because
there's
you have
work.
so much time on your hands.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that's how easy it is to get something off of the wiki. You just find the report you want, you you copy and paste it into your reports section in Koha, and that's all it takes. So that's for the wiki. The reason that I didn't put flexible request history on the wiki is because it has 5 dependencies. So we can talk about this report here. It's got 3 sets of authorized values and then 2 auxiliary reports that can be run from inside the report. So the first thing that we would need to do if we wanted to add this report to the koha-US test system is the first thing actually we're going to have to do is add the authorized values.
And why are you adding authorized values?
So the reason I'm adding authorized values is because I've already put one of these. Which ones did I put 2 of these on here. I put this one as holds progress. So if you write a report and you put in a runtime parameter that doesn't connect to, this is an area where we should go back to the wiki again, and I can talk about another part of the wiki that we missed. So let me find the Koha wiki. Um, which I should have somewhere in here. Well, let's just go back to it the way that I told everybody it was easy to find because I changed my bookmarks recently and I can't find it there. Um, Koha reports library. So one of the things that you'll see on the Koha, the main page for the SQL reports library, is there's going to be tips. Um, Documentation on SQL fields and tables, blocked keywords. We did a video about the blocked keywords and fields. There's links, and there are what we're using here are runtime parameters. So if I wanted to create a dropdown when I run a report, there are some things that are already available. Um, there are some runtime parameters that already exist as dropdowns. So if we wanted to get a list of branches, if we wanted to have a drop down that listed all the branches, the way that you create those in a report in Koha is you would do um, you put a pipe, you put your code, you would say something equals angle bracket library branches. And then when you
Is it
run the
just
report,
one set of,
is it 1 set or 2?
I think
It's
it's,
2, isn't it?
I want to say two, but yeah.
We're having a great day here, aren't we? Well, and you can use this too. If we wanted to insert a runtime parameter, we can use this.
Yeah, that's something that's fairly new that's been helpful.
So we can say authorized values, give me all of the damaged. Uh, so we'll get the hungry alligators, authorized values damaged. Um, if we want to get a date, that'll give you that little calendar
Hmm.
interface to get the date. Um, So what we're doing when we create this group of authorized values is we're going to say, um, give me a drop down there that has these options. And so the authorized value for this particular drop down is the holds progress. So if you want to see all holds, all requests, you would this would be the option that appears in the drop down. And the actual code that it's sending to the SQL is this percent symbol, which is a wildcard. So it's saying, show me everything. If I want to see holds where the progress is still active, then I would put this in, and this is going to put the code percent symbol active percent symbol. That's going to show me all the holds that are still active. So this is going to give me, instead of having to type a code into a box, it's going to give me a drop down, which is what I want, because I wanted to do this to make it easier for my staff.
And they didn't have to get the spelling or the syntax uh, correct. It's all provided for them.
Right, exactly. Um, so in order for this to work right, as without modifying the report, you need to have an authorized values table called L hold prog, which is holds progress. You need to have one called L hold act, which is whether the request is active, filled, or canceled. And I've already put those two into the koha-US test system. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a new category. I saved the shortest one for the demo. So this category, you can name it whatever you want, so long as you use less than 10 characters in the category title. Um, and you have the ability, you can say restrict this value to numbers only. I don't want to do that. I want it to be numbers or alphabetical characters. Um, so I'm going to click save, and then I'm going to add a new value. And the first value I'll add will be the wildcard, and the description will be all requests. And I just plug that in both spots. Then I want to do a second one, and this one is going to be suspended. Did I get that right? Yes. And the description will be suspended requests. And the third one is going to be just a dash. And the description is all non-suspended requests. So that gets us this list of authorized values. And well, actually, I want to go back. So I before we recorded the video, I added the other two. So this gives us all three of the dependencies for authorized values that are in this table. But that's the process for how you would add these authorized values to your Koha if you don't already have them there. So the other thing that this report has that the flexible request history has is it requires two other reports. The first one in my system is report 3040, and that's the one that I already added. So when I added this to the Koha US demo, it was saved with report number 153. So the 153 is going to be important later. The second report we need is in my Koha, it's report 2784. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add all of this SQL for report. This in my system, this is item in transit history. So we're going to go to create from SQL in reports, and I'm going to add this here, and I called it item in transit history. So I'm going to give it the same name in here. Um, And this is a
Or when you
report.
save it, it's going to have a different report number.
Yes, I'm going to make a note of the report number once I click save. And
This is one aspect of Koha reports I wish we had a non-changing reference point. So you can copy it from system to system, and it doesn't matter what index number, report index that it's given, it'll always refer to the same report. I have a difference between my test server and my production server, and it would be nice to be able to copy and paste, and it's ready to go, and it's just referring to a reference within the report setup rather than depending on that index.
right, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. So this is what the report looks like when it runs, and when it runs, I can see it's report number 158. So I'm going to make a note of that because I'm going to need that later. So now that I've got all three of my authorized values set up, all three of my authorized values tables set up, and I've got both of the dependent reports set up, then the final step is to go here back to new report again, and I'm going to go new SQL report. And this is the final report. And so I'm just going to call it flexible request history. I'll give it that title. And then I'm going to copy all of this SQL here, all the way down to the bottom. And
So, hey, I'm new to SQL. I noticed that your page has everything double spaced. Does that matter?
no,
Okay.
shouldn't matter at all. So what I need to find here is, like I said, that first report that's a dependency, that was report 3040. So I'm going to find where it says report 3040 in here and change that to the report number for that first report, which was 153. And then the second report was number, where did that number go? 2784. And I'm going to take that out and I'm going to put in report 158. And so that should give me both of my report numbers. I've got all the authorized values in there. So if I save this and run it, it should look just like it did when I ran it in the other video on my own system. And we can test it just by, we can just run it and see what there we go. That was pretty speedy too, because we're in the test system and there's only been 20 requests. And so it runs just like that. So the steps are, if you're copying from the wiki, you just need to find the report you want, copy the SQL, and paste that into the SQL input in Koha. And if it's a more complicated thing where there's dependencies, you need to make sure that you have all of the dependencies. In this case, you need to create 3 new separate sets of authorized values, and you need to make sure that the other reports are there. And that's actually one thing we didn't test is, do these reports work? So if I click on, there it runs the other reports. So that report's working correctly. That was report number 153. And in transit history, that's this one. And there's no in transit history on this. So everything's working. So that's how to take something from outside and bring it into Koha as far as reports go. At least that's how to do it with something that's published like on the wiki or something that's published on my web page that's report related. So hopefully that will help Laura get this report into her system. Hopefully that walks through all the steps that she needs to do.
Great. Well, thank you for for sharing that. We share a lot of things on our videos, and we assume that people understand the process up to the point that we're at, and not everybody's at the same place. And she asked a very good question, simple question, and please never be shy about asking us to back up and explain some processes, because again, we're all at different places, and there are some things that we have explained, but there are some things that we haven't explained. And if we haven't explained it, you need to know we have resources out there in the Koha community, but we want our videos to be able to walk people through these things as well. So
And it's also, there are always new people, but there are also always changes to Koha. It's entirely
yeah,
possible that if we were to revisit this in 5 years, it might be different. There might
you
be
know
some
and
new
and
processes.
point and a point to that, just demoing that one older report, finding that mistake. We also got to demo how to, when we come across something like that, now not everybody's going to know, oh, well, I just need to take those spaces out of there. So some of it's going to take some time for troubleshooting, but other than that, when you run across it, now if you run across something like that, feel free to contribute and update that wiki with those fixes.
Yeah.
So
So, like I said, and this is a preview for 2 weeks from now, maybe. Um, this is how to get a report from a web page or from the wiki into Koha. There is another tool that we've never talked about before, and so we'll talk about that next time.
all right, well, thank you everyone for joining us for this video. We hope it helps, and please be sure to let us know, give us some feedback. We'd love to hear feedback. It was great to get some feedback on one of our videos that led up to this video. So feedback is always welcome. So please uh, feel free to respond back, like our videos, make sure that you subscribe so that you get notified when we update these. I put out the word about our videos, and I do see more increase in viewership on the videos when I do put that word out. But the easiest way to get notified is to subscribe. So we're going to go ahead and sign off, and we'll see everybody again in 2 weeks.